Hey guys, welcome back to the Hands On channel. We're at my new property here, and I thought it'd be a great time. I'm celebrating my independence today on my new property. I haven't quite decided what we're going to name this yet, but we've got some different ideas rolling around. One of them was kind of a play on the CHOP, or what was the first one they called it, Chaz or whatever, the autonomous zone. You know, this is my autonomous zone, where basically I can do pretty much whatever I want within the limits of the local state laws and things like that, of course, but I'm a hell of a lot more free out here than I am in any suburb or any city, because, you know, I mean, just down to the basic stuff, like when you live in a suburb or a city, if you don't keep your yard mowed to a certain height, then they're going to come around and let you know about that. So there are some different things like that. Or if you've got old junk cars or something like that, that junk cars, you know, that maybe it's a project that you want to work on 10 years from now or something like that, and you just haven't had time for the thing, and it's sitting out there. Well, if you live in a city or a suburb, many times they'll come around and put stickers on your car and tell you that you got to move it within so many days or blah, blah, blah. It's just a level of control. And when you're out here in the country, you can do pretty much whatever you want within the limits of the local and state laws. But anyways, we're really excited about this. I just about got my truck stuck coming into the driveway here. I was pulling a little tiny trailer, and last night it rained pretty heavy. And out of the front, I'll take you out there and show you, it's one of the first things we're going to have to address, is that it's collecting water and pooling up, ponding up there. So I'm going to have to get in there with a tractor and do some work, put some gravel in. But right now it's just slick, really slick red mud. Even when I was opening the gate, just walking through it, I slipped a couple of times, and I was like, uh-oh. This stuff is really soft and really slick. So I wasn't sure I was going to get my two-wheel drive Chevy in there, but I managed to do it. I'll show you here in a minute how dirty it is. But anyways, we were spinning, and it was a pucker factor for a minute or two there. I had to go in reverse and then go forward a little bit, and then I got to a point where it wouldn't move. So I was just like, well, I'm just going to give her the beans. And finally it got down to some traction enough that it started sliding forward, and I just stayed in it and pushed it on through. But yeah, it'd been a lot better if I'd have been in my Suburban four-wheel drive, but it's in the shop right now, in my shop, having some rear brakes done on it, a little bit of brake work. But anyways, guys, I wanted to take you around here and show you. This is going to be one of our fields out here that hopefully one day will either produce hay or maybe run some kind of livestock out here. We haven't quite decided yet. We're going to look into the profitability of all those different things and what's going to be the easiest, quickest thing to get going up front. Obviously I'm going to need a tractor, so I've been doing, part of the reason you guys haven't heard much from me is I've been investigating tractors, you know, till oftentimes 2 and 3 in the morning, because I'm just like, okay, what about this tractor? It has these options, and this tractor over here has these options. And I'm trying to do this in a way where I don't finance a tractor. Although, I'll be honest, John Deere and I believe it was Massey Ferguson and a couple of others are running 0% financing for like 84 months. And I thought, well, you know, if I can get the thing for interest free, it may be worth it to pay payments on it. So I don't know. I'm still considering a couple of different alternatives we have, because frankly, anything that I need to run a property this size, and I said in the last video I wasn't going to tell you how much it is, and it's partly just because I just don't want to create jealousy or envy or anything like that, but you know, it's over 50 acres. Let's just put it that way. It's quite a bit of land, and I'm going to need a good size, probably a full size utility type tractor to take care of this place. And now you're talking about 15 to 20 grand, 25 grand for a used one. So I've been struggling with that, trying to figure out how I'm going to pull that off, because I need a beast of a tractor out here, and I don't want to buy something that I'm going to be either pushing too hard because I should have bought a bigger tractor, or, you know, just regretting it from day one. So anyways, that's enough of the intro here. I want to take you guys out here and show you the first little repair we're going to have to do. I already got out here with a shovel and tried to fill in the mud hole out here in the front, but it just didn't work out. So I'll take you around here and we'll take a look at that. You'll see some of the projects that I'm going to need this big tractor for. And again, you know, there's an old saying, you can use any tractor, even a small tractor will do all the same things a big tractor will. It's just going to take you a whole lot longer to do that. So first up here, I'll show you old Black Betty. She's becoming a farm truck. Look at that red mud all down the side. Looks good. So as you can see here, the previous owners, they left us with a 1/3 of a trailer here. And it looks like they started tearing it apart at one time, but they never finished that. So My wife and I are gonna have to come in here and deal with that. I'm sure that's gonna be a hassle. And while I'm over here in this area, this is what I'm calling the front 40. And this is where the people had lived for years and years. There's a trailer here and there's one back behind me. But we've been slowly going around and picking all of this junk up out of the weeds. You know, it's one thing, guys, to have a junk pile somewhere, one single junk pile, or maybe even two for two different kinds of junk. But to just stray your crap all over the yard, I mean, I'm finding stuff out here in these weeds right here. I'm finding all kinds of stuff that really, you can't run that over. It surely wouldn't be good on a brush hog to run that over. So anyways, we're gonna have a lot of work just cleaning up the mess from the previous owners. And they left us quite a bit. Wife and I started this pile here about 2 weeks ago, I guess, week and a half ago. And we've just been pulling stuff and gathering it and trying to get it out of the pasture so that whenever I get a brush hog, I can come out here and brush hog this place and make it look nice again. As you can see here, it just rained pretty heavy last night, and we've got some flow going on down through here. This is where the driveway kind of goes. So clearly that's going to need some attention with a tractor and probably a culvert if I want the driveway to not wash out. And I do, obviously. So right now I'm just driving over it, but and that's fine if you're in a truck. But as soon as you get in a car, a low profile vehicle, you can't go over that. So see, we got some more pooling right here. This is one of the reasons I wanted to come over after a rain to see what's going on and how this water's flowing. Okay, so there's a road right here, a gravel road, that connects my property to the existing, or I'm sorry, to the previous owner. Their property is over there, beyond that basketball goal and beyond that telephone pole there. You might be able to see that line of fence row there. That's where our dividing line is, and their property starts over there. We've got a couple of usable outbuildings here. That one on the left is a well house, and it does have a working well in it, so that's one of the reasons we bought this property. And the one on the right is just a little utility shed, but it looks like it's usable, so I'm hoping I can get that set into a position, into a place where I want to keep it. And you can see here, here's the driveway I was talking about. Oh man, we slung some mud. In fact, it's so bad, I may go out on this other gravel road just so that I don't get stuck right there when I'm trying to leave. If I hit it at a real fast speed, I might be able to do it, but since you're having to turn a little bit, that kind of creates some problems. But yeah, that's the fence line, and there's a gravel road out there, which is how we access this property. It's got some nice trees on it. All of those trees down there are inside of my property line. There's actually a ditch down there, just beyond those trees, that tree line there. So that's what feeds our pond down here. Set down right here and see if we can take a look at this junk trailer. So this trailer here, the story is it was set here, I don't know, 20 years ago or something, and when they set it here, they didn't brace it up proper, and it sunk down into the ground quite a bit, to the point where the back floor started rotting out, and it's really moldy inside of the, it smells moldy inside of there. So we've been doing our best to stay out of there, although we have to go in there to clean some of the stuff out. And I'll tell you, I've never experienced fleas like I've gotten in this trailer right here, and people were actually living in there, which is quite alarming to me. But my wife and I went in one of the first days we went in there, and I looked down and I was wearing my kind of a lighter colored pants so that I'd be able to see ticks and stuff like that on my legs, and they're kind of a gray color. Well, I looked down and I see these little spots all over my pants, and sure enough, they were all fleas. And I swear I flicked like 50 off each leg. And then it was so bad, I ain't gonna lie, it was so bad, I felt them start biting me around the underwear band. So I ran out here to my black Chevy, and I jumped up in the back of the truck and peeled down all of my clothes and made my wife come over there and help me pick the fleas off of me, because I don't want to be getting bitten by fleas that, who knows, the last thing they may have bitten might have been a big old mouse that was infected with bubonic plague or something. We got enough problems going on in this country as it is. We don't need any new plague starting up. So anyhow, if you're dealing with a situation like that, I've noticed even the off and the other mosquito and bug repellents, that doesn't really stop the fleas. They don't give a damn. They'll still bite you. So what we did was we went in there and sprayed a bunch of flea poison in there, and I think that killed about half of them. But I'm going to have to go over to Walmart or the dollar store or something and get some flea bombs and I'm just going to get like twice as many as I need and drop 2 in every room and run, because we do need to get in there and clear some stuff out of there. But the plan with this trailer, it's at very most we may use it for storage for a temporary little while, because the roof is holding and it's relatively dry in there. But there's no way we would live in this place. I mean, it would have to be the end of the world before I'd live in a place like this, because it's just that bad. So I'm not even going to take you inside. It's just, I don't want to get fleas all over me, and trust me, it's just a junk trailer. This is not what we're going to live in. In fact, it's a liability for us. So we're going to have to figure out what to do about this. I've seen some videos on YouTube. There's this one dude that does a lot of construction type work, and he has a mini excavator, the kind that has the thumb on the front, so that he can reach down and grab stuff and, you know, tear it apart and shred it. I think I may have to get a guy with one of those out here, or rent one of those, and a big dump truck, or at very least one of those trash dumpsters, the big ones that you can have dropped off for like a couple of weeks, and I could fill that up with construction debris. But that thing's going to go. My wife was going to come by here with me and spray all these. We've got a bunch of sumacs and a bunch of other like poison ivy and other stuff growing right up around the trailer. So we were going to spray all that down so that we can get in there and actually start working on this thing. So you can see lots of overgrown weeds, lots of junk scattered about. And I'm going to have to pick all of that junk up before I can run a brush hog in here. So I've actually been shopping for some of those, they call them different things, like a field trimmer. It's basically like a push mower with a weed eater head on the front of it. DR trimmers is one of the more common ones. So I've been shopping for one of those just so that I can go up here and explore and get in there and make sure there's no, you know, pieces of oil filled pipe or an old bed spring or anything like that. So I'm gonna have to go in there and kind of probe around with one of those things. I haven't bought one yet, but I've been shopping for one. So anyways, this front section is kind of the bad part of this property. And as you can see, lots of junk, lots of garbage to clean up. But I'm gonna grab the GoPro and we're gonna walk down through the woods, and I'll show you some of the better part of this property. The one good thing about this is the back section, pretty much beyond, I don't know if you guys can see it or not on the camera. I'll zoom in. We'll see. If I can get in the right position here. There's a pond down there. I can't see it on the screen here, so I'm having a hard time finding it for you. But there's a fishing pond. Yeah, there it is. There's a fishing pond down here. And so far I've pulled out some nice fish, a couple of pretty nice bass. And that's one of the reasons we bought this place, is it's about an acre and a half fishing pond, and it's well stocked, and it's an old pond, so we shouldn't have to worry about it. And the other reason we bought this place is there are several, I don't know, thousands, I don't even know, tens of thousands of old growth trees out in this forest. And it's one of these places that all throughout the history of this state here in the Heartland, no one farmed it. No one, I mean, other than up here in the front, you can see someone was making some pastures and some fields in a few places, but the majority of it is untouched raw forest. And I just love it. I mean, there's huge hickory trees, huge oak trees that are, I mean, there are some oak trees out here on this property that the wife and I, if we tried to reach around the tree and touch hands, we wouldn't be able to. That's how big they are. So we are just blown away to be able to be so fortunate and so blessed to be able to be in a position. And of course, guys, I want you to know this too, that, you know, I'm 44 years old, and my wife and I have been working toward this goal since we were married when I was 19 years old. So we have been working at this for a long, long time. So if you come in here and you're thinking, oh man, this guy's rich. Well, I ain't rich. I've been working my butt off all these years to be able to have something like this to retire with. And personally, just, you know, one of those things that I learned long ago is, what do you spend the majority of your money on when you're out working? Well, number one, usually, and it should be, your mortgage or your rent, that kind of stuff. And then all the other stuff that goes along, you know, like you're gonna have to feed yourself, clothe yourself, all those other things, you know, provide electricity, all those bills and different things like that. But what if you could build your own house? What if you could, you know, produce your own solar and not have to ever pay for an electric bill, those kinds of things? And what if you could pull fish right out of your own pond? What if you could grow your own gardens and not have to buy stuff from, you know, the grocery store as much? That's the goal here. Self-sustainability, self-sufficiency, whatever you want to call it. That is the goal of this property, and why we decided to buy such a big chunk of land, because we got big dreams, so we figured we needed a big piece of land. I've always dreamed of having my own pond, and now I do. One more thing off my bucket list. Like I say, it's about an acre and a half. I don't really know. I'm not the greatest judge of, of acres like that, but I'd say it's up a foot from what it was last time I was out here. You can see the high water line there up near where the chair goes, but something's hitting the top water out there. They're calling me out. But this cove back here, if you ever come over to visit me, this cove back here has been my sweet spot so far. I pulled out some nice lunkers. Probably, I'd say a 3-pound bass is probably the biggest one I pulled out of here. But a lot of 2s, a lot of 1.5s, a few small ones. We just been having a blast out here. Let's go on down over the dam. I just love this little walk here, and I would imagine in the future we'll be doing a lot of filming here in these woods. And let me pan around here. You can see some of these larger trees out here in the distance. To me, there's just not much better than being in the woods, man. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get bit by mosquitoes. Almost every day I pull ticks off myself when I go home, but I want this to be my home. Home in the woods. Sounds like paradise to me. So, there's another potential building area. It looked to me as if someone was developing it for that back here. And one of the things I really like about this property, opposed to some of the other ones we looked at, is it's really hilly. There's lots of hills, there's lots of culverts, or not culverts, there's lots of ravines and ditches, and there's lots of rise and fall. And I love that. So yeah, here's the L field. It continues to go on around back here, and it goes that way. I kind of like the idea of building the house up here on top of this hill. There's a hill right here where all these big trees are. And I like the idea of building the house up on top of the hill, because you won't have to deal with the drainage problems and stuff like that. Plus, you'd have a commanding view over this whole pasture area, this L-shaped pasture area. So if you were running livestock and, different things, you could have a barn down here somewhere where you'd be able to see that stuff from your house up there, which I think would be pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys are picking it up. There's a little white building over there. That's a hunting blind. So people have been hunting deer down here. And I know they're down here because, again, it's more than 50 acres. And most of it is like this right here. Just thick woods. So I'll never have to buy firewood again. I'll never have to pay for, the gas company again. The only exception to that may be I may have to buy propane for to heat my water. But even then, if I wanted to go real old school, like 1800s, I could just heat that stuff up on a wood stove, or make myself some sort of a boiler, an outdoor boiler. That way I could heat water up even in the summertime. So guys, I'm in paradise right now. I've been working really hard, coming home worn out, sleeping like a baby, because I've been sweating probably, I don't know, a gallon or two worth of sweat every day out here. So if you don't hear from me as often as you used to, that's what's going on. It's not that I don't want to make the videos, because I do. But like yesterday, I brought all my gear out here and I was going to make a video at the end of the day. But I was just so exhausted that you guys wouldn't have liked the video, because it'd have been like, oh, blah, I'm so tired. It would have just been a lame video. So anyways, guys, that's what I'm going to be up to for a while. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have your own land somewhere that you can work on, because I tell you, you just don't get much closer to God than getting all away from all the scumbag people, turning off the scumbag news, getting away from the communists, and just living free in America. And it's harder and harder to do that now in a city, in my opinion, and even in the suburbs. I think it was Will Rogers, at least he was the one I heard say it, buy land, they ain't making no more of it. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Wish me luck. And until next time, we'll see you later.